Hi, Assistant Mapley here, the Scioto County Daily News, as part of our continuing team coverage of the death of Kevin Bailey at the Scioto County Jail. I am here with his sister, Karen Skaggs of Wheelersburg. And if you haven't heard what happened yet, Kevin Bailey was an inmate at the Scioto County Jail. He was arrested on early morning hours of May the 24th for aggravated menacing. There was an incident where he was yelling at a guy from a porch, allegedly waving either a pipe or a BB gun in the guy's general direction and threatened him, but nothing physical happened. The Portsmouth police report makes it absolutely clear nothing physical happened. He was taken into custody, transported to the Scioto County Jail, and then he was somehow injured. And then a couple of days later, his sister gets the call that he's been injured. And he eventually did die of those injuries. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Karen here, who's in Wheelersburg, and let her tell her story, because I think we maybe have seen the facts in print, but we haven't heard the human side of it. And Karen, can you tell us about your brother?
Hi. Yes, my brother, I received a call that he was in a Columbus hospital needing family members to make decisions for him. I later found out that he was, excuse me?
Had you even known he was in jail?
No.
Sorry, go on.
And then I found out that he has severe brain injury. His skull was fractured wide open in a couple places. He had multiple brain bleeds. He had 6 broken ribs and a fractured rib and a black eye. And I know this didn't happen with him falling and hitting his head on a door.
Let me stop there. And what you had told me originally, you didn't know how the injury happened. You thought perhaps he'd been attacked by inmates.
Right.
At first. And then when were you able to find out when did you find out how the injury allegedly happened? When were you informed?
And when I read it on Facebook.
And what did you posted on Facebook about his injuries?
Right. And then I seen that the Captain Miller had made a report saying that he was running and the guards tackled him and he hit his head on an open door.
And so they're alleging that all of those injuries came from him hitting his head on the door.
Yes. And I have been told differently. I have been told that he was picked up and power drove into a concrete floor several times and into a door and then kicked after he was already unconscious. He never came to. There was somebody that seen them taking him from the infirmary in a wheelchair, and they couldn't even keep him in the wheelchair because he was lifeless and he had blood all over his face. And so I had to make the decision to go to Columbus, and he was on life support. And I had to remove him from life support because they said he would probably never be the same. If he did survive, he would not be the same person. And I removed him from life support on a Sunday. And the last words I told him was I loved him very much and I would fight till I found out who did this to him. And now that is my number one job, is to find out who killed my brother. They need to be brought to justice. Just like if I went on the street and killed somebody, I would be charged with murder. Well, they were in a jail and something happened. Somebody killed him, and that needs to be brought to justice.
And you had said your brother is a very small man.
Yes, he was. He probably only weighed maybe 140 pounds. He was very tall and skinny. So.
And you were quite honest with me. You told me that your brother could get a little mouthy, as the police report could attest to, and you think that might have had something to do with it?
Yes, I'm afraid that he smarted off to a guard or something, and maybe they lost their temper with him. And I understand getting mad that somebody says something mean, but that does not give you a right to take a human being's life. You know, I mean, my brother was loved by so many people, And so many people have reached out and how caring they are for him. And it hurts me so bad to know what happened to him and how much pain he had to have been in and what he was thinking as they was doing this to him. You know, I need to know answers besides that he hit his head on the door.
And you said that you had spoken to somebody from the Ohio Attorney General's office.
Yes.
And what did they tell you?
They are investigating it, and they are going to send out a pactum for a victims advocates, and they want to get to the bottom of this also. I've reached out to Captain Carter several times yesterday, a couple times today, and I cannot get a answer or a call back or anything.
Well, you had said that at first they refused to even tell you what your brother's injuries were or what the problem was.
Yeah, they said they didn't know. They said it was under investigation, and as far as what his injuries were, they had no idea. So,
must have been very difficult.
yes. Then I tried to call the hospital, and they wouldn't release information because he was brought in as an inmate. And when I told Captain Carter that, he said, "Well, that's funny. We released him." So, when did they release him? I mean, things just aren't adding up.
What is it you would like people to know about your brother? I mean, right now, when people see just inmate, they think, maybe this guy was a troublemaker or a problem. Right. But what should they know about him as a human being?
Kevin, he was a very sweet guy. I mean, he would help anybody. He would help people before he would even help himself. And I mean, he might have had a different lifestyle than me, but he was kind and sweet. And I loved him, and I miss my brother.
You have a picture of him there?
Yes, I have a picture of him when he was a younger kid. And that's the brother they took away from me. That's the brother they murdered. And I can't get anybody to answer me. All I want is justice for Kevin. That's all I want. I know I can't bring my brother back, but I want justice for him. I want to find out who did this, and they need to be brought to justice before they do it to someone else.
Well, no, I mean, incidents like this are really in the news right now because of what happened in Minneapolis and all the protests that have come out around it. And I think it's something some people have tried to put to the forefront, that things like this happen. And a lot of times people don't care unless there's some, and things get more attention if the people involved are different races or if the person is some attractive, well-known, successful person, as opposed to people that fall by the wayside. And did your brother have a difficult life? Did he have some issues, or was this just?
He was a drug addict, and he's fought drugs for years, but he was still a good person on the inside. And I still remember the brother I grew up with, and now it's all been taken away. And we just lost our mother a year ago. And it's just, I have so much anger in me. And, I pray to God to take the anger from me, because I know he wouldn't want me to have so much anger in my heart, but I am so angry. And I think they think, well, Kevin was just a street bum and a drug user, and this is just going to go away. Well, I hate to tell them, but he has family that is very angry, and we're not going to just go away. We are going to keep fighting until we get answers that match up with what happened. How did he get a black eye and broken ribs and all this head trauma from hitting the door? And is there going to be video, or is it when I go down there, they're going to say, oh, well, we don't have video there? And I was also told the infirmary had to be repainted, and it was just painted 6 months ago. And I would say it had to be repainted because of all the blood that was in there. And it just breaks my heart to know that he had to go through something like that because he would never hurt anybody. And then somebody do that to him. I'm just so mad and so hurt. And it's just not right. I don't care if they have a badge on or not. You don't do that to somebody. If somebody hurt one of my dogs, I would go after him. So now somebody's murdered my brother and they think I'm just going to sit by and let it go. It's not going to happen. I will fight till my dying day to find out what happened to him.
Have you been found that you've been getting a lot of support from people
Yes.
on social media, and has any organizations or anyone reached out to you?
The organization that held the peaceful protest at the stadium, they have reached out, told me if there's anything they can do. And I would like to have a march around the jail. Anybody that is willing to do it and just say justice for Kevin. That's all I want. Justice for him. To know that, you know, I just want him to be able to look down and say, my sister is doing it. She's going to take care of it.
What would you just, what is one thing you want people to know? One thing you want people to know about your brother, and one thing you want to say to our county officials about the situation.
One thing I want people to know about my brother is even though he had a drug problem, he was still a good person. And if you had a problem, he would help you with it, even though he had his own problems to take care of. And to our county officials, this needs to be investigated and the man needs to be brought to justice. There's no sense, no reasoning for anybody to hurt somebody as bad as they hurt him.
Well, Karen, thank you so much for being with us. I realize this is a very difficult time for your family, and if there's a memorial or anything for your brother, please let us know. We want to be able to get that out and share that with people because, again, no matter how he died, even if the video shows it was an accident and somehow he ran into a door, he was still a human being and
Right.
missed by those who loved him.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I missed you, Kevin. I'm so sorry.